You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we're going to take you to Arma, where Habitat for Humanity hosted a service of dedication for the organization's newest home.
Plus, 2 people are injured after a boat capsizes on the Lake of the Ozarks.
And we've got an absolutely beautiful start to our Monday. We don't like Mondays usually, but man, you can celebrate today. We'll take a look at the forecast and how long these below average temperatures last coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now just after 7 a.m. on this Monday morning. So as I mentioned, usually Mondays are like, oh, come on, let's go. But we have a reason to celebrate this Monday because if you haven't been outside yet, open your window or go out on the front porch, the back porch, whichever porch you prefer. Nice. It is beautiful out there, well below average. It is October-like. We'll talk about that in the forecast and all that good jazz here in just a few more minutes, but it is quite nice compared to what we had just a few days ago.
It's bearable. It actually is bearable, so we deserve it.
It is, and of course, great weather over the weekend for Habitat for Humanity.
Absolutely, and Habitat for Humanity hosted a service of dedications to bless their newest homes for its partner family yesterday. Homeowners
Brandon and Megan welcomed neighbors, family, and friends to their new home as they received the new keys. KOAM's Jasmine Knight has the story.
For homeowners Brandon and Megan, this journey has been a miracle. Their new home symbolizes a chance at a fresh start.
We're at a point in our life where things are moving in a positive direction. I'm going to hopefully graduate from college this coming year. So with that and kind of this, a lot of bright things have been happening in our life, and we're just very appreciative of it all.
Brandon's family partnered with Habitat for Humanity to bring their dreams to life. Their mission is to get families into new, affordable houses.
Throughout the process, the family does get to pick and choose different things. The reminder is that it is simple, decent, and affordable, and we do need to be sure that we build them all similarly.
In order to qualify, you must be able to pay a 0% interest mortgage, a $500 down payment, and the sweat equity required. Some families, like this one, even put in their own blood, sweat, and tears.
And this family was very involved in the choosing of things, the working on it. I mean, they are here countless hours.
With 5 children, times can be a little hectic, and quality time can be few and far between. However, in the new house, they can't wait to make the memories that will last a lifetime.
Weekends when we have the kids home, we get to act a little crazy with them at times, and that's where you get to make the memories, laughing. We got two teenage daughters, so I'm sure there'll be some crying along the way.
So for Brandon and Megan, their house is now a home, thanks for Habitat for Humanity. Reporting in Arma, Jasmine Knight, KOAM News.
So far, Habitat for Humanity has built almost 24 homes in the Crawford County area and hope to build many more.
And of course, Habitat for Humanity, a great cause out there, definitely helping families that
need
a place to live, and they provide great places to live. I've seen some of those homes before. They are pretty nice homes out there. And today, a pretty nice day to open the windows on that home, at least through the morning hours. If you don't like the 80s so much, then I wouldn't open those windows because, it's going to be a little bit on the warmer side, but not bad otherwise. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as we get our morning started. And this is going to be interesting in a moment, but we're looking at low 60s to start the day, and we're going to see some increasing clouds. We're talking partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, mid 70s by late morning, and this is what I meant by it was going to get interesting. I didn't have this in the right spot. So here's the MoDOT camera again. Here's the one down in Neosho, US 60, Missouri 59, and from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, as you can see, we got sunshine, we got clear skies to start our day, and again, our temperatures look great as well, and that's what I wanted to get to. 58 degrees in Job. 58! It is not October. I know the first day of September is this Friday. It is not the first day of October that's coming up, but it certainly feels like it out there. So great weather to start. And look at these temperatures around the region. 55 Fort Scott, 57 Iola, 59 Pittsburgh and Miami, 60 Chetopa, Monette, 59 Carthage. And Lamar trying to play a little game here. They're at 62. So is Stockton and Cassville. But not too bad to start the day. Our temperatures today, again, going to go into the low 80s, so below average. And unfortunately, the summer heat will return. We'll take another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
All right. Well, a fatal crash in St. Clair County, Missouri claims the life of a 59-year-old man. The crash occurred on Sunday at 11:25 a.m. on Missouri 13 in Collins. A 2005 Suzuki motorcycle carrying 59-year-old Jesse Ray of Aurora, Missouri, and 42-year-old Jean Ray, also from Aurora, failed to yield to a 2003 Harley-Davidson carrying 60-year-old Ronald Wallace of Bolivar. The Harley-Davidson struck the Suzuki motorcycle, causing all passengers to be ejected. Both vehicles traveled off the roadway after the accident. Jesse Ray died on scene. The other two people involved in the accident sustained serious injuries and were life-flighted to Cox South and Mercy Springfield. A crash in Barry County, Missouri, claims the life of an adult woman and a child. The crash occurred on Friday at 9:20 p.m., 3 miles west of Monett. It happened when a 2014 Subaru Legacy failed to stop at a stop sign and traveled into the path of a 2000 Chevy Silverado. After impact, both vehicles traveled off the roadway. The other two passengers in the Subaru were transported to Mercy Hospital of Joplin with moderate injuries. An Arkansas man is dead and a woman is injured after a crash on I-44 in Joplin. Police say it happened around 11 Saturday morning near mile marker 6. They say 32-year-old Ryan Malone was driving east at a high rate of speed when he went off the road, hit a guardrail, went down a ditch, then over the I-44 mainstream on-ramp before traveling down an embankment. Malone died from his injuries. A female passenger sustained moderate injuries. And 2 people were injured after a boat capsized Saturday on the Lake of the Ozarks. It happened around 3 p.m. Saturday at Public Beach Number 2. Authorities say 3 people were on board. 2 of them received moderate injuries. The third was not injured. The Missouri State Highway Water Patrol is investigating the cause of the crash. A Cherokee man learns his sentencing for a non-fatal hit and run that happened in Pittsburgh last year. On Thursday, a judge sentenced Brian Walrud to 8 months in prison. Walrud will then serve an 18-month probation. The judge also ordered Walrud to pay more than $30,000 in restitution to the victim who survived the hit and run. The hit and run happened on October 28, 2022 in the 1400 block of East 14th Street. A Southeast Kansas woman enters a plea deal for the death of her 2-month-old infant. Rebecca Dobbs of Gass, Kansas, entered a plea of no contest to involuntary manslaughter, which means she accepted the conviction as though she entered a guilty plea, but not admitting guilt. In 2022, prosecutors charged Dobbs with first-degree murder and aggravated endangering of a child. In June 2023, prosecutors amended the murder charge to involuntary manslaughter. Last week's plea deal dismissed the aggravated endangering of a child charge. The court scheduled a sentencing date of November 6, 2023. And the attorney for the McCune, Kansas man accused of fatally shooting his grandson has requested a bond reduction. Authorities say on August 7th, John Fox shot and killed his grandson, 28-year-old Ian Fox. There are also new details in the case about what led to the shooting. According to court documents, John and Ian Fox were gathered with other family members at a home in McCune playing pool. Then they say that John Fox did not want to play anymore and went outside and refused to come back in. The documents say later Ian Fox went outside, then 20 to 30 minutes after that, John Fox came back in and said, quote, "I shot Ian," end quote. He is now charged with second-degree murder. And congregants of the Fellowship Baptist Church in Baxter Springs yesterday worshiped in the parking lot after their church caught fire Saturday. Authorities say it happened around 4:30 Saturday. When firefighters arrived, they noticed smoke coming from the back of the building where classrooms are located. No one was injured in the blaze. Following protocol, the state fire marshal has been called in to help with the investigation. And a teenager is dead and 4 other people are injured after a shooting at a high school football game Friday night in Oklahoma. It happened in Choctaw near Oklahoma City. Authorities say the shooting started from an argument between the game of Choctaw and Dell City high schools. They say the teenager killed was not a student of either school. 2 people, a 42-year-old man and a, quote, young female, were also shot. 2 other women suffered broken bones while trying to escape. Police have not arrested anyone at this point, but they are looking for a person of interest. Coming up, Lori Horton joins us back in studio as we continue making those gooey butter cookies.
And a family grows a 1,000-pound pumpkin on their first try. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We will be right back, but first, Here's a live look from Pittsburgh as today officially kicks off Little Balkans Days. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 712 now on this Monday morning, and it is a great start to the day. Look at this view from 7th and Rangeline. We got the plentiful sunshine, clear skies out there, and October-ish temps. 58 in Joplin right now. And take a look at that dew point, down to 55. Humidity is at 90%. And around the area, very nice start to the day and well below average. We got 57 Iola, 55 Fort Scott, 62 Lamar, 59 Pittsburgh, 58 Parsons, 59 Miami. So as you can see, a smattering of upper 50s and lower 60s out there. And that's how we're going to start our day. We're going to start with the lower 60s, go to mid-70s by late morning. We could see some increasing clouds. So we're going to go partly to mostly cloudy as we head into the late morning and into the afternoon. But again, a pretty nice start out there. And we'll make it into the low to mid-80s. Our average high this time of year, right around 89, 90 degrees. So that's warm, but it's still technically below average, and we will remain below average overnight. Great evening out there, partly to mostly cloudy skies, falling back to the 70s and eventually into the low to mid 60s for our overnight lows. And then we're also keeping an eye out into the Gulf, down in the Caribbean right now, heading into the Gulf. This is Tropical Storm Idalia, as you can see, intensifying, almost stationary, but eventually will begin lifting north and should become a Category 1 hurricane later this morning. And as it heads toward the Florida coast, unfortunately, looking to be a major hurricane, Category 3, as it heads right in just north of Tampa with winds of 115 gusts to 140. Maintaining hurricane strength as it goes across the Florida Panhandle and into southeast Georgia, and then the center of circulation will feed off some energy in the Atlantic as it skirts the Carolina coastline as a tropical storm. So a lot of concerns with flooding, winds, storm surge down there, so something we'll be keeping an eye on. As for us, we again stay below average, or at least slightly below, heading through the middle of the week, partly cloudy skies, upper 80s. Friday, the 90s return, and then as we head into the weekend next week, unfortunately, we could set some records or be very close as we go into the mid to upper 90s for the first full week of September. Well, fall is right around the corner, bringing with it the tradition of picking out a pumpkin for jack-o'-lanterns and pies. And one family in southwestern Virginia has some bragging rights. It's grown some unusually big pumpkins in Tazewell County. And what makes this one more amazing is the family is new to farming. Yeah, Clayton McChesney has the story.
If you drive by the Hidden Springs Farm in Tazewell County, you may be surprised by some of the produce being grown there. These 8 giant pumpkins were grown by the Edwards family. Despite their success with these 8 great gourds, the family says they're not giant pumpkin experts. This is actually their first time growing pumpkins of this magnitude.
We took the boys to Dollywood last year, and they seen the giant display, and they were amazed by it, and I was amazed by it.
Inspired by their Dollywood trip, the Edwards began growing giants inside their house in April. But it wasn't a one-person job. The whole family was involved, with even the younger members working hard on their new project.
We had to not let them get too cold, and we got to cover them, and then we have to cut off some of the under pumpkins too.
Cutting off the other pumpkins lets just one fruit get all the nutrients, making it grow even bigger. The family's biggest pumpkin is named Godzilla, after the classic monster from Japanese cinema. It's around half a ton and still gaining, putting on close to 40 pounds a day. In total, the Edwards have 8 pumpkins of different but still giant sizes. However, when they first got started on this project, they had no idea they would be so successful.
I was told that it's best to be safe than sorry because they're hard, they blow open, they get root rot, they get diseases, and so I was like, well, I better plant a lot so I can at least get 3 pumpkins at least. Well, they all did fine.
The Edwards family hoped to enter these pumpkins in multiple contests, including the Blue Ridge Giant Pumpkin Growers Association. They also plan to continue growing giants in the future, and hopefully be able to one day feature their pumpkins in the display at Dollywood that initially inspired them to start their giant pumpkin journey.
Well, Priscilla encourages other people to consider growing pumpkins themselves. She says you can see the full process on how they got started, as well as some of the things they fed their pumpkins, including seaweed, on their Hidden Springs Farm Facebook page. Certainly very large pumpkins, very interesting. I have never farmed, so I don't think I could grow much of anything. We'll be right back after this with what Lori is growing in the kitchen, which, by the way, is pretty darn tasty. But first, take a look. This is Pittsburgh. Why are we showing you Pittsburgh? Well, today kicks off Little Balkans Days.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. During the 6, we started out with our gooey butter cookies. Now we're going to continue making them. Yeah. Welcome back, Lori.
Thank you.
So before we had the butter.
Yes, quick recap. We mixed together our butter and cream cheese. We creamed that up really well, really fluffy, added 1 egg and a little bit of vanilla. So what we've got here is just a really nice, light, fluffy mixture of that. It's just very pale. And I'm just going to take that, I'm going to mix it in with the whole box of my cake mix. And what I started with on these was just kind of a good standard one, and it's just a yellow cake mix. It's a little richer than a plain white, but I really like, and I don't mean to brand name drop here, but there is a Betty Crocker mix here that has a butter recipe yellow. And it's again,
recipe yellow.
It's a little richer. It's just got a little more flavor
we really
to
like
it.
Butter here.
We like a lot of butter.
We
you know,
stick the butter. This is the Midwest.
Welcome to Kansas. We love our butter. It's not health food. This is not that segment.
It's good.
It's delicious. Exactly.
I love that.
This is not something you're going to eat a lot of. It's a treat. So we want to go all in. But we're going to mix this really thoroughly. It'll take a minute. You want to do that part by hand so that you get all of that really well incorporated. And this is where we can really kind of branch out a little bit and make some varieties of flavors.
Okay.
So what I've got over here on my tray is some that I made with the yellow, but also here on the other side, we made some with a triple chocolate cake mix, which just completely changes that up. It's great with yellow, with the chocolate. You can make it with a lemon mix. It's
that'd be good. Like a nice little lemon.
Really rich with that cream cheese flavor in
Maybe
with
a red velvet?
Absolutely. You can just really make it tailored to what you guys enjoy. And these are going to bake up really puffy. And thick.
They're big.
They're very
cookies.
thick.
I mean, if you look at them,
I like to spoon them out pretty generously, so I use a pretty good size scoop. You could dial these down if it's for littler kids and you don't want to, but you know.
Go big or go home.
That's right. That's right. So they bake up really nicely, and they're going to keep really soft for several days as well. So you can put these in a Ziploc bag and kind of make them up the night before.
Pack them for lunches for the week.
Exactly. You know, kind of get those done on Sunday when you have time and have them for the week. So I'm just going to keep mixing on these until it is fully incorporated, and then what we'll do when we come back is we will just take our cookie scoop, we'll pop these out directly into just some powdered sugar, and we're going to thoroughly coat that. We want to actually have that dough completely coated in the powdered sugar before we pop that on our cookie sheet to bake. And then these are going to bake at 350 for about 10 to 13 minutes. Now, I made these last night with this humidity and everything going on. These baked for about 11 minutes. So always start with that lesser amount, then you can add a little more time. You always want them to stop when they're just really lightly golden and not real shiny in the middle. You'll see those cracks, and you'll see that shine start to disappear when they're done.
Wonderful. Yeah. All right. Well, I can't wait to see the third and final interview where we can see the finished product and the whole process. Be sure to tune right back in. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We have Lori here with us, and this is now the grand finale.
This is it.
How do we really take this home?
All right. So
gooey cookies.
Gooey, and they really are. So we've got all of that dough incorporated, all of that cake mix and those cream cheese wonderful ingredients, just a nice sticky gooey dough. So best tool here is going to be that cookie scoop, and we're just going to take that out. Again, I like to use kind of a generous, almost ice cream scoop one. Put that directly into a little bit of powdered sugar. And this
is not a little bit of powdered sugar.
It's
folks.
never a little bit.
She's really coating those on.
We want to get these completely coated. So
it's like a donut at this point,
right? It kind of is. It's like a beignet. We're getting fancy,
yes, it is.
right?
It really is.
So we're going to coat that really top and bottom all the way around. You're going to put these on your cookie sheet. You don't really want to squish them down, but just form them a little bit. And once you've got those on there, give them a little space between them because they are going to puff up a little bit when they bake. And those are going to, again, go in that 350-degree oven for about 10 to 13 minutes, depending on the day. And when they come out, especially with the yellow mix, they're just going to be lightly golden on top, just like that.
So is that why we dip
touch.
it so heavily in the powdered sugars, or other than delicious flavor?
Other than delicious flavor, it's just going to give it that little crackly coating. So if you look at our ones here that are baked, they really puff up. They kind of split across there, and they're going to come out with that little, those, you know, uneven ridges.
Yes.
When they do come out and they're on your cookie sheet and they're really nice and hot, you're going to take a little sifter or just a little dusting, and you're actually going to go back on those and put even a little bit more powdered sugar on there, because when those come out of that oven, they're 350 degrees. That's going to really melt.
They have all the butter in them.
They've got all that butter in them.
The
That's
sugar
really
will
going to
stick.
melt right down in there, and that's going to give you that really nice, just even coating on the top and that little bit extra.
I love it.
So when you get them out, it's going to be hard to resist, but you do need to let them completely cool because they'll be really, really soft.
Yes, I can see that.
They'll just come
right?
apart right off the bat. So you got to be patient. Wait for those to cool completely. You can even separate them out onto a rack. I like to bake these on parchment paper. It's just a little bit less messy because they are going to have that extra powdered sugar when they come out.
It's really moist.
Really moist, really soft when they come
These
in
are
there.
great.
She seems surprised.
I saw there's a lot of butter and cream cheese and sugar,
There's
but
a lot.
what's there not to love?
Right? But
it is
they're
really
almost
good.
a cakey type cookie.
It is. It does. It feels like
Yeah.
a little cake cookie.
It does. It is awesome. They just,
It's so
again,
ooey
stay
gooey.
so soft in the middle and everything for several days. So
thank
enjoy
you so
them,
much.
tweak them a little bit.
Fun recipe.
Yes.
The ooey gooey cookie. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
and we'll
you.
see you back here in a week.
Have a great Monday.
We'll be right back after this.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:31 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. And the George Washington Carver National Monument hosted their 7th annual Storytelling Day. The event celebrates the park's 107th birthday. It allows the public to come and listen to stories from all across the world. Today, there was 3 storytellers portraying characters from the Underground Railroad, Africa, and the Cherokee tribe.
What we try to do each year, we tell stories of George Washington Carver every day, but we like to tell other stories about other parts of the country or other cultures and traditions. So we just pick various stories.
The George Washington Carver Museum also remains open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Baxter Springs City Hall hosted a meet and greet for the community. The purpose of the event was to educate the community on how their local government works. It included coffee and donuts and appearances from various representatives from police and fire departments, community activists, local businesses, and the city government.
We had so many citizens that had questions from different areas in the city. So my city superintendent and I put together this event so that we've got all of our departments here.
The event ran from 9 a.m. and concluded at 11 a.m. Ride for Autism kicked off Saturday morning in Joplin. The ride started at Cycle Connection and ended at Happy Jack's Tavern in Seneca. The rides were free to the public. Ride for Autism t-shirts and merchandise were available, and all proceeds went to area school foundations to create sensory rooms for individuals with autism.
The proceeds from our event today is going to go to the autism community. So whether it's swimming lessons or water safety, physical fitness and awareness for being physically fit as an autistic person. And then of course we're always going to donate back to our local schools and their foundations.
Over 20 area businesses sponsored or donated items.
We've got a very pleasant start to our Monday across the 4 states. Take a look at these temperatures. Still pretty chilly out there. 55 in Iola, 59 Pittsburgh, Lamar, 56 Nevada, 58 in Joplin, 59 Chautauqua, Miami, and 60 in Neosho. So well below average, to the tune of about 10 to 15 degrees below average across the area. And that is going to be the theme for most of this week. We're going to start the day in the low 60s, eventually make it to the mid 70s and go partly to mostly cloudy. And as we head into the afternoon, same thing, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but below average. Our average right about 89, 90 degrees for this time of year. We're going to be low to mid 80s across the area, so not a bad start whatsoever. And as we head through the evening, still partly to mostly cloudy, but great temperatures and a great overnight, once again well below average as we go back into the low to mid 60s. The summer heat, unfortunately, will return. We'll tell you when in your full forecast in a few more minutes.
Body and Soul Transformation Fitness Center in Joplin held a Health and Hope showcase for the community. It included fitness classes, a kids zone, open gym, and raffle prizes with merchandise discounts. The event was an opportunity for Joplin residents to get to know the center and staff members.
We want everybody in the community just to feel welcome and to have a family-friendly environment. So that's what we try to offer here, is something for everybody in the family from, ages 5 to 100. We have a kids zone and just want a family-friendly atmosphere.
Vendors were set up around the gym promoting different health and wellness businesses. And the Joplin Jeep Junkies celebrated a special young Joplin boy. The birthday boy, Cooper, is a 3-year-old that is battling leukemia, and for his birthday this year, his family wanted to do something extra special. They reached out to the Joplin Jeep Junkies, and they were able to have over 30 Jeeps in attendance.
There's so much bad in the world, to know that there's so much good, and it's not ever focused on the good. We seem to hear more bad than we do good, and we've got a great club. We're a family-friendly club. And that's what we need in the community.
Where I cry at and I get so emotional is he's so strong and he's so good at it. And like, we get up on Monday mornings and we're like, we got to go to work. Well, he gets up on Wednesday mornings, he's got to go get chemo, and he is like smiling and just kicking through it like a trooper.
Cooper received his first battery-powered Jeep at his birthday, and he is now part of the Joplin Jeep Junkies. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll take you to Minnesota's State Fair, where you can find some high fashion.
Plus, as mentioned, we've got a great start to the work week. We're looking pretty decent for most of the week, but changes are on the way again. We'll talk about that a little later. But first, here's a live look from Pittsburgh as today officially kicks off Little Balkans Days. Well, New York, Paris, and Milan have Fashion Week, and the Minnesota State Fair, well, they've got a fashion show all their own. Reporter Adam Duxter hunts down the best and most unique outfits on the grounds.
When the midway becomes the runway.
They're a family. Where did they go shopping?
Jen and Ellie Gruber have a front row seat.
I'm always interested to see, like, okay, are you dressed for comfort or fashion? Or both?
Fittingly, fashion.
I was inspired to do like a 1930s, like Ukrainian or Budapest kind of immigrant attending the fair.
And comfort.
Not very much of a fashion guy.
Cool.
Cool. These are my shirts. I get them when we go on cruises.
Are in style this year. And while the weather is hot,
It's weird to see people in long pants.
Outfits like these.
I'm a big man with big pants, therefore I need a big buckle to hold them up.
Are always cool.
Really not making that much of a statement. This is pretty much how I dress every day.
Oh my God, I'd be boiling.
Yes, Fairgoers Friday proved wild.
It's a kitten who shoots lasers from her fingertips.
Can be practical.
We figure if they got lost, we could just say she's wearing this.
Comfort.
The Crocs they're pretty comfortable. I like the holes.
Can be quirky.
My tan line ends right here.
And that no matter what you wear,
it's a little warm. Some make fun of us and some actually really like it.
There's a place for you here.
It's just fun. Whatever you wear, it's just fun.
Okay, well, certainly an interesting place to go for varying fashion. Now, I personally am a short man with small pants and a small belt buckle, so I don't know. Maybe I should get a larger one, and that would mean that my pants were longer than what they are. Could it mean I'm taller? I don't know. Maybe that's how I grow. I'll figure that out for you here in just a little bit. And coming up, Zillow now offering a new program of a 1% down payment for a home for those who qualify. And we got a beautiful start to our Monday. The summer heat, unfortunately, does return a little later. We'll talk about all that in your full forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:43 on this Monday morning, and it is an October-like day, even though the first day of September just a few days away. We're at 58 in Joplin, dew point at 55. Humidity's up there a bit, but otherwise not bad. Got clear skies out there and beautiful conditions. 57 Fort Scott, Nevada, 60 in Pittsburgh, Chanute, Miami, 61 Chitopa, 59 Carthage, Lamar. Not a bad start at all, but well below average. And we're going to stay below average through the next several days. We're going to go low 60s by 8, and we're going to eventually make it into the mid 70s by late morning with partly to mostly cloudy skies out there. Highs today, low to mid 80s. Again, we're typically about 90 for this time of year, so technically below average and not bad at all. And we've got partly to mostly cloudy skies through the evening, otherwise great temperatures and another below average evening ahead of us as we go back into the low to mid 60s. And we'll talk about that thing in a little later. Now I've lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you put something and you forget about it. We have got temperatures below average through at least Thursdays. We go into the upper 80s with those partly cloudy skies. Then Friday, we reach 90, so about average. And then as we head into the weekend, unfortunately, it begins to heat up through the weekend and next week. Temperatures mid, maybe even upper 90s. So as we head into the first full week of September, we could tie or even break some record highs out there. So enjoy this week while we've got it, because unfortunately, it doesn't last. Let's check your forecast. Now, here's Caitlin with a check of Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, as home prices soar across the U.S., Zillow is rolling out a new down payment plan for first-time buyers. Those who are eligible pay as little as 1% towards a down payment. Zillow Home Loans pays the additional 2%, bringing the total down payment to 3%, which is typically the minimum payment required for a home loan. Right now, the program is only available to buyers in Arizona. Those who are interested also have to complete a class on home ownership and meet income and credit qualifications. It comes as mortgage rates and home prices take flight, making home buying the least affordable it has been in nearly 40 years. 3M has agreed to pay more than $6.5 million to the Security and Exchange Commission. The payment settles allegations that 3M's subsidiary in China tried to hide payments to send Chinese government officials on secret overseas vacations and shopping sprees. The SEC says that was an arrangement to encourage the officials to buy 3M products. The SEC alleged that the subsidiary spent $1 million to send Chinese officials on 24 trips. The trips were officially for educational events, but the SEC claims they had off-the-books itineraries. It says the company paid for about 24 trips between 2014 and 2017. The SEC challenges the falsified expenses, and it says it violates the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Under the agreement, 3M does not admit or deny the allegations. And we'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. A man vacationing with his family on the Jersey Shore found a message in a bottle. Now he needs help finding out who sent it off on its journey all the way across the Atlantic.
Karina Jerry has the story.
Wednesday, we were walking, and on the way back, we were right at the water's edge, and there was a clump of seaweed, and I saw the bottle, and I said, oh, it's just, I was getting ready to throw it out, and then I noticed there was a note in it. So we saved it, got back to our blanket and our chairs. We couldn't get it open till we got to the house, and that's when we discovered where it was from.
A message in a bottle written back in 2019 and traveling over 3,000 miles from Ireland to end up here in New Jersey. The note reads, "Greetings from Ireland. I have thrown this bottle into the sea for someone to find another day. Maybe it's traveled down to Africa or to Iceland. I won't know if someone found this, but I hope it is found." The letter, dated July 17th, 2019, is signed simply Aoife. And in a possible twist of fate, Bulger, who owns a vacation home in Wildwood, notes the community has a large Irish-American population.
Other thing that struck us was North Wildwood is a huge Irish-American community. And I'm like, okay, what are the odds of finding this? It was just, I don't know, it's been surreal.
Bulger and his family are now on a mission to connect with the writer of the letter. And what better way to do that than through social media? The post has over 700 shares on Facebook, and Bulger's story has made its way to Ireland.
And I'm getting emails now from Irish TV stations. I got to do an interview on Irish radio at 1 a.m. tomorrow.
Well, that's what we call the luck of the Irish right there.
Indeed. That's an absolutely incredible story, and incredible that it made it as far as it did. Well, we've had a fairly decent start to the day. As we go through the rest of the morning, we're looking at temperatures getting in the low 60s, mid 70s by late morning, and we'll go partly to mostly cloudy as we head into the late morning and afternoon hours. We're going to take a full look at your forecast and the week ahead, plus the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. 2 people were injured after a boat capsized Saturday on the Lake of the Ozarks. It happened around 3 p.m. Saturday on Public Beach number 2. Authorities say 3 people were on board. 2 of them received moderate injuries. The third was not injured. The Missouri State Highway Water Patrol is investigating the cause of the crash. And a fatal crash in St. Clair County, Missouri claims the life of a 59-year-old man. The crash occurred on Sunday at 11:25 a.m. on Missouri 13 in Collins. A 2005 Suzuki motorcycle carrying 59-year-old Jesse Ray of Aurora and 42-year-old Jean Ray of Missouri hit a Harley Davidson carrying 60-year-old Ronald Wallace of Bolivar. The Harley Davidson struck the Suzuki motorcycle, causing all passengers to be ejected. Both vehicles traveled off the roadway after the accident. Jesse Ray died on the scene, and the other 2 people involved in the accident sustained serious injuries and were life-flighted to Cox South and Mercy Springfield. An Arkansas man is dead and a woman is injured after a crash on I-44 in Joplin. Police say it happened around 11 Saturday morning near mile marker 6. They say 32-year-old Ryan Malone was driving east at a high rate of speed when he went off the road, hit a guardrail, went down a ditch, then over the I-44 Main Street on-ramp before traveling down an embankment. Malone died from his injuries. A female passenger sustained moderate injuries. Congregants of the Fellowship Baptist Church in Baxter Springs worshiped in the parking lot after their church caught fire Saturday. Authorities say it happened around 4:30 p.m. When firefighters arrived, they noted smoke coming from the back of the building where classrooms were located. No one was injured in the blaze. Following protocol, the state fire marshal has been called in to help with the investigation.
Well, we've got a nice day out there ahead of us. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, temps below average, low to mid 80s. As we head into the evening hours, again, partly to mostly cloudy, good temperatures, and overnight below average as well as we drop back into the low to mid 60s. Looking at the week ahead, we will stay in the upper 80s through at least Thursday, still keeping us a couple of degrees off the average. Then we go average on Friday, right around 90, and as we head into the weekend, the summer heat returns through the weekend and next week. As temperatures go mid to upper 90s, so we could set or break some record highs next week. So enjoy this nice weather while it lasts as the heat returns for the first week of September.
Wow. Well, Chris, we got a story here I think you'll like.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I already like it.
Oh, yeah. So he starred in a show about space, then he actually went into space. Now William Shatner is being honored for a much older form of transportation.
Yeah, the American Road Horse and Pony Association Hall of Fame inducted the Star Trek actor in Kentucky on Thursday, and that's where he owns a horse farm. Shatner has raised road horses throughout most of his Hollywood career.
Road horses aren't used for traditional racing or showing. It's a rather niche sport in the equestrian world that involves horses pulling a rider in a carriage. Even at 92 years old, Shatner still has horses that compete.
And see, I'm, of course, a big Star Trek fan. I knew that William Shatner had horses. In fact, the movie Star Trek Generations that came out in '94, they're riding horses, he and Patrick Stewart are, because both of them are actually big into horses.
I love that.
So there's lots of horse stories. There's always something to learn out there.
Anything about Star Trek, this guy knows. He's an encyclopedia.
I have seen every show, every episode, every movie.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know how I've managed to squeeze that into actually living a life. I don't know how I have a job because that takes a lot of time.
Star Trek.
That's pretty much it. You just got to kind of blend it all in. But
you're doing great, Chris. I love that.
Oh, I certainly try. So, but like I said earlier, we've got a great week ahead of us. One other concern I did want to mention is our humidity levels are expected to fall really low as we go through the week. So, fire danger, burning concerns could be an issue as we go later into the week. And then, of course, the heat returns next week. Not looking forward to that at all.
Well, good thing we have you to keep us posted on all that.
You've got me to inform you of the bad news for next week, but at least this week we get a little break from everything. So thank you. Yeah, it's a great week. Let's
we'll
celebrate.
make the most of it, huh?
We certainly will. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We might be back with more news and weather at noon. We might not. It just depends on how this goes.
Have a great rest of your day.